Man, she's pretty. Isn't this pretty? Question is, what the heck is it? Let's dive into this video and find out. What's up guys, this is Trevor with Embers Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Today we have a fun new product demo that we're doing. This is the 4K Kamado style charcoal grill by Everdure. If you've seen Everdure stuff, it's super cool, super modern, super slick, and we're excited to dive into this thing. It's a very, very unique Kamado style grill here. So let's dive into this review. Let's take care of a few things first. Don't forget, make sure to subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a ton when you subscribe. It really helps our channel and allows us to continue to do videos like this. Everything that we're using in the video, any useful links, we'll include links down below in the description. Of course, we'll put these products on our website, have them in the description as well if you want to shop and browse on our website. And then lastly, we are equipment experts, but we're not culinary experts. So what we've done is we've included a link below to subscribe to Masterclass. They're gonna teach you guys how to get the best use out of your barbecue equipment. Well, we can teach you about the equipment itself. That is a partnership that they do for us, and that is something that they pay us for. So make sure to check that out as well. All right, enough of that. Let's get into this video. So as you can see right out of the box, this is one of the most unique Kamado cookers that I've ever seen. And I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. But my initial thought process is it's super, super cool. It's super clean. It sort of has a retro, funky look to it. And when people come over, and they're like, what in the heck is that thing? And that's pretty cool. And then I know it just is good curb appeal. You know, my wife, she doesn't want a million grills out on the deck. But I can tell you for a fact, she wouldn't mind this being out there because it looks nice. It's attractive. So that's a big plus too. So this thing gets a huge A+ as far as attractiveness. Let's get into functionality because that's when this thing really sets itself apart from every other Kamado grill out on the market today. So first, we forgot to mention though, back to cosmetics, this thing is available in a bunch of different colors. So if you're not crazy about the mint green, if it's a little much for you, it comes in more subdued colors, orange, red, white, things like that. You can browse those colors on our site. Okay, now functionality. So let's start with the base. So everything you see here comes standard with the grill, but this is gonna be the base pedestal that you get with this guy. It is removable and optional, and you can put casters on the bottom of these legs if you want. The only reason you would remove this is if you're building this into an outdoor kitchen, because then this can just sit in your outdoor kitchen, which is really sweet. But if you want a standalone setup, you can take this off, and again, this just pops on or off. And then it does have a nice storage drawer. So we can store our tools that come with it, as well as our meat probes. We'll get into the meat probes here in a minute. So nice compact storage drawer as well. Okay, now let's talk about a few more things on the outside while we're out here. This is super cool. So this is gonna come off, and we'll show you this in a bit. But essentially, this gives us the option to reload without opening the lid. So if we wanted to add some extra wood chips for flavor, or let's say we just happen to be running out of charcoal a little bit, we could refill right here, which is pretty unique. Not a lot of Kamados have that. Normally, you add all your layers and your tools in there, then once you're set, like you are set. You're not getting back in there again until you're done cooking. So if you're doing a long cook or something, that's definitely nice to have. Really cool feature. And then the basic functions of this, it's really gonna work like every other Kamado. As far as the raw technology, there's a lot more packed into this, but as far as the way the actual structure is gonna work, so we have our chamber, airtight chamber in here. So we have our airflow here, and you can see it's just on a dial. So the further we open this, the more oxygen we're letting pump into here, which is gonna make our grill hotter. And then same with our smoke release on the top. We can choke it off all the way, or we can open it up all the way. Pretty much every Kamado out there runs that same way. You control airflow in and you control airflow out, and that's what allows you to really control temperature. No different there. Let's get under the hood, because here's where we're gonna really see this thing be crazy different from everything else out there. You know, I'd kind of like to equate this to like almost like a Tesla. It's so unique. People say, oh, you can't drive a car on batteries. It's not possible. You can't use a Kamado with electronics. Well, you can, and these guys have proven it, and it's pretty cool. So let's get in here. So you can see right off the bat, before we get into the electronics of this, let's talk about the cooking options. So you're gonna get standard. This is gonna be sort of a high cooktop if you wanna maybe go low and slow on something. And then you also have different tiers. So down here on this tier, you can do solid cast iron if you wanna get in here and take a peek. The cast iron is gonna be low above the fire. So it's gonna be nice and hot for searing. And then you can get little griddle insets if you wanted a full flat top. And then in here, you can see we have our actual charcoal bowl where our charcoal is gonna sit. And then this is kind of fun. This is like a little moisture tray or moisture cup. That's actually really handy. So you can fill this up with water. Every time you need to refill, you can top it off and set to get a little moisture in there, apple juice, water, beer, whatever you want to do. And then, of course, the main feature of this is it has its own igniter. So if you take a peek in here, you can see it's just an electric igniter. So you do have to plug that in. And then your charcoal is gonna set in here. And then you can ignite this, self-ignite this. So you don't have to use matches, torches, fire starters, fire gel, all that stuff. You don't have to worry about that. So it's really cool in the sense that it's charcoal with its own self-ignition system, which is pretty unique. The one thing I do wish this little moisture cup was bigger because you're gonna go through that pretty quick. Not a big deal because every time you open it, you can just top it off, but I do wish that cup was a little bit bigger. And then I'll show you one last feature here, is you do get this handle. So you can put this handle in here like this, and then you can lift your whole charcoal basket out and then set it back in here. Set it back in here if you need to. So it's pretty nice and accessible to be getting in and out of here. So that's kind of nice, and you get all of this standard with the grill. Then one last thing, we'll show you around back here. So this is a pizza stone, and it's got a nice little handy holder back here. So you can store it away pretty easy. But what else is cool about this is it acts as two things. One, a pizza stone, but then two, we can use this. You could use it on top of your cast iron like that, for example, and then put this over the top. That way we have indirect heat, so we don't have direct flame. So you can use this as an option for indirect heat or an actual pizza stone itself. And then one more thing back here is this thing does require power if you want to use the electronic features. What's cool is if you don't want to use the electronic features, you don't have to plug it in. But this cord is fully retractable. So again, just what I like about these guys is the attention to detail is very high. There's a lot that they think about, and there's very little forgotten when it comes to this machine. Also too, this thing does lock shut. So it does have a little button right here. You can press that, open it up. Pretty cool. Okay, and now let's get into some of the technology here. And we'll teach you how to do this, and we'll take it outside and fire it up, see how quick it actually can get an ember bed hot. Okay, so let's get into some of the technology a little bit. So here's our main control panel. So we can fire it up here, and it is set as Celsius. So if you just hold in this temperature button, it's gonna change to Fahrenheit. And then see this little blue blinking light? It's waiting to be connected. So Everdure does have an app. So we just go to connectivity, we'll show you here. And we'll do cooking with Heston. Now this is really cool. So you can pick one of their recipes, let's say a barbecue beef brisket. Here's your recipe. And then, so it gives us two things. One, recipe preparation. So it tells us what we need to do to prepare our recipe. But on top of that, charcoal preparation. So it's gonna tell us how much charcoal to use on initial fire, which is, I've never seen anything like that. It's pretty slick. Pick your Fahrenheit, then we're gonna click continue. We're gonna pair the device, found our 4K. Let's connect to it. Now let's cook. So it's gonna give us the steps needed. This is really handy, especially if you're a beginner with Kamado cooking. Load our charcoal, blah, blah, blah. Then we get in here. Now this is really cool. So it's gonna preheat our oven. So it automatically sets our temp to 194, so our igniter's kicking on there. We could skip that step, pretend we reached it. And then what's really cool, one thing that we didn't talk about is in here, there's a spot right here for 4 probes. So we have the option for our probes and it comes with all 4. So what we would do is we'd plug these probes in here and then this would go in our different meats. But what else is really cool is we can clip a probe using this clip. It goes on from underneath, but you can clip a probe to the actual grill grate. So we know how hot our cooking chamber is, we know how hot our grill grate is, and we know how hot our food is. So we have full controllability on this guy, and we can name each one. And then what else is really cool, we didn't show you a couple different things on the inside here, but we have 2 different temperature controls, so it's gonna allow for a super accurate reading. One more thing in the hood we didn't show you is the nightlight. So on our control panel, we can turn on our nightlight. So for evening time cooking, doesn't get any sweeter than that than having internal lighting. Okay, where were we? Back to our recipe here. So we can turn on notifications, so when something reaches temp, it's gonna let us know. And then here we can track everything. So if you have to run out to the store or something, you can still be keeping an eye on this. So we have graph view and controller view with our grill temp and our probe temps. So doesn't get any sweeter than that, huh? That's pretty slick. So then what else is really cool, if you don't want to mess with your smartphone or be messing around with an app, you can do everything I just said all right here. So we can control our probe temps, our temp on the inside, and we can set all of our temps right here if we want. And again, we have our nightlight, or you can just power it off and just use it like any old Kamado. So you can do it any way you want. So we'll go outside and turn it on. Okay, so let's fire this baby up. So you can see here, we turned it on. You can't really see with the lighting, but it's definitely on. And then what we would do is, if you remember right, let's just pretend that we're cooking something here. Let's just pretend that we're gonna do some porterhouse steaks, okay? Let's look at what our charcoal preparation is. So 2.2 pounds initially. So we would essentially pretty much fill this up. So let's do that. You get these pretty cool tongs with it. So let's fill this up. Okay, so we got our pan filled up if you want to take a peek in here. So we're just putting it over the pan just for demonstration purposes. So we just follow what the recipe says. And we close it, and then right here is our ignite button. See this little flame button? So we're just gonna hold that in for 3 seconds. And so now it's started. And then what we're gonna do, again, we're gonna open the air on the bottom so this thing can just really get some oxygen going. And we'll open it at the top. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see this, but during the startup, there's our time. So it's been on for 1 minute, our igniter. And it goes back and forth between the time and the internal temp. So we're at 78 degrees. So without even opening it, we have a precise reading. It's gonna do initial fire for up to 7 minutes if you wanted it to. So it's gonna run for up to 7 minutes to get your charcoal going. So that's really just the same as lighting it yourself, except you don't gotta do anything, you just gotta turn it on. So that's pretty sweet. So let's check it in a couple minutes, see how it's doing. Oh yeah. So look at that. So this was only on for 6 minutes. We're ready to go. We're ready to cook. Now, if you wanted to, you could add more charcoal And then what's really sweet, I didn't show you this here, but these big tongs are included. So you could always pop this off and then see, I can go in here. Always add some more fuel if I need to. Or if you're doing wood chips or something like that. But that's pretty sweet. Definitely works. So what's my final thoughts? My final thoughts is this is one of the coolest Kamado charcoal grills I have ever seen and I've ever messed around with, and one of the best Kamados I've ever reviewed. In fact, we'll include a link to a video below. Check out our top 5 Kamados of all time, my personal 5 favorite. I promise you this one's in there. This thing is so cool, it's so unique. It's just different. If I were to have a complaint, I wish it could come one size bigger. It is pretty big, but you know, something with even more cooking space would be cool. That's really about all I got as far as complaints go. But it doesn't get any sweeter than this guy. So don't forget, if you're in the Denver metro area, come down to our showroom, see this product in person for yourself. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks so much for checking us out.